Good. My name is Naomi Jabari. I'm volunteer member of AAP in Houston, Texas, and I'm privileged to be moderator of this session to discuss with group of very successful Iranian American professionals from Houston, Texas. Um, I share my QR uh, code from LinkedIn here, and I would be glad to be connected with you in the LinkedIn if you are interested or work in the areas related to energy market, including energy transition, sustainability, net zero by 2050, and heat transfer. I promise I will talk less, and but first I have to answer first question. What is AAP? AIAP, Association of Iranian American Professionals, is a nonprofit professional organization. And the Houston chapter of AAP serves as a bridge for professionals, enabling them to enhance their networks and discover career prospects in the energy capital of the world. Dedicated to advancing the professional growth and success of our members, AIAP is committed to providing a collaborative platform that fosters innovation, knowledge sharing, and networking within the industry. We aim to elevate standards, champion excellence, and empower our members to thrive in their careers, ensuring collective impact on the field's advancement and success. Uh, we are so proud of our accomplishments in AIAP, and I would like to take opportunity to thank our sponsors. You see the logos here, ERC, Marek, Atlas Insurance Group, Texas, New York Life Insurance Company, Trizon Electrical Service, and Hungary's Cafe and Local Table in Houston. AAP hosts the speakers events featuring compelling topics pertinent to the industry, small businesses, and startups. And we also host social events for in-person networking, and all these events happen because we have very supportive sponsors. And I also must mention about our motivated executive team and board members who work as volunteer, dedicating their time and energy to share their knowledge and experience and their resources with the younger generation in our society. Let's go to the panel. So it is our first virtual panel discussion. And we're planning to continue panel series in social media to build a broader career networking platform for all professionals all around North America. In fact, we are going to humanize and connect Iranian American professionals together using AIP's social media infrastructure to collaborate, communicate, and empower each other in the professional life. We will target the main problems that our community has in workplace, and we'll try to provide answers and solutions to some of the main questions, issues, and problems we may face in workplace. Our panel discussions will cover very broad topics related to career and professional networking. During this panel discussion, audience can add questions in the chat box. You will see your questions, and I will read your questions at the end of panel to get answer from the panelist. So with this explanation, I'm thrilled to introduce our panelists. today. Our senior panelist, Mr. Abbas Mehrabian, and I'm impressed with his background when I was reading his bio. Abbas brings a wealth of knowledge with 40 years of experience in the industry. He's dynamic thought leader and highly accomplished practice principal with extensive experience in business consulting, service delivery, program management, business development, um, discovery assessment, customer engagement, and pre-sale, resource management, PM management, and ready to get engaged. Boss is bridging the gap between technical and business stakeholders to remove technology obstacles, provide measurable success, and secure desired outcomes. Thank you, Abbas, for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for the note.
Azadeh. Miss Azadeh Hashemi is a compassionate life coach dedicated to guiding individuals on the transformative journeys. She graduated from Shiraz University of Medical Science and practiced medicine for 13 years in Iran. She immigrated to the US in 2009 and obtained her ECFMG certificate in 2015. I will ask Azadeh to explain about this certificate to make it clear for our audience. And in addition to life coaching, she also works as a data analyst at Memorial Hermann, TMC's Trauma Center. Azadeh is one of the authors of a book named Road to Human Flourishing, with introduction and recommendation by Brian Tracy. If you want to learn how to ignite your health, wealth, and success, you can order this book from Amazon. Thank you, Azadeh, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me for this panel discussion, and thank you for AIAP to creating this great opportunity.
Perfect. Thank you. Manager Buzurg Mehyan is Mr. President. Manager is president of AIAP in Houston. His background is mechanical engineering, and he started his career working for a manufacturer. And after 4 years, moved to oil and gas EPC industry, where he stayed for almost 20 years. He has experienced various roles and responsibilities from engineering, site supervision, and project management in the life cycle of different projects in onshore, offshore, oil and gas, power generation, and renewable energies. He's interested in cutting-edge technologies, and with his team, they were able to develop unique software with applications in construction and other industries. Thank you, Manager, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Good. Siavash Zamiran. Siavash is geotechnical and geomechanics consultant and the founder of Sivotech, a consulting firm providing geotechnical solutions to oil and gas companies. He is also a senior lecturer in Department of Civil Engineering at the University of Houston. And in 2019, he won the National Edmond Friedman Award from the American Society of Civil Engineers. Thank you, Siavash, for joining us. And you see in the recording under my name, and instead of my name, you see Siavash Zamiran. It's because we had a little technical issue here. I couldn't fix my name in the computer, so I'm not Siavash. My name is Naomi Jabarian, not Siavash. Siavash, can you turn on your camera, please?
Yeah, my camera is on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we see you and we can hear
Yeah,
you
thank
very
you so much. I appreciate and glad to be here. And I'm glad that we have this first panel discussion, and hopefully we can continue this effort.
well. Okay, perfect. Thank you. With very impressive backgrounds from our panelists, I would ask the first question from our senior panelist, Abbas Mehrabian. Abbas, let's talk about drama of culture shock. What is the culture shock and how to deal with it?
So culture shock comes in two forms. One of them is social culture, and then one of them is working and the culture and the work environment. They're kind of intertwined, and then they work together. For social, usually, let's say that when we come from our home country, Iran, to America, and then some of the cultural things that we have back home versus the cultural issues that America has, then if you're not ready, it can cause issues. Sometimes we get homesick, sometimes we don't know what to do, and then it causes distortion, and then sometimes you don't feel like you belong to the society. And that was true when I came here. I mean, when I came here, there were times that I get homesick, and that those are part of the culture. Then there is a work environment culture that if you're new to the work environment and you get in there, you don't know how the work environment is set up, and then what you don't know the people and so forth, and then that causes some type of shock. You don't know what to do. But again, the work and the social, they're intertwined, and they kind of the same thing that you feel as a social, you can feel in the work environment also. Some of the symptoms that one can feel, their anxiety, physical exhaustion, overall feeling of negative toward your new environment, and then you can have stress. There are a lot of times that some of this can work toward as a positive thing also. So we don't have to think everything negative, but a lot of times some of the cultural things that we have, and we bring it to this new environment, it could be positive toward us. And then that's just overall description of the cultural shock within our environment. You're on mute.
Yeah, you're on mute.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Abbas. So I want to ask the second question from Azadeh, considering your answer to the first question. Azadeh, you're a career coach and life coach, and I know you are the author of a book, Road to Human Flourishing. I want you to a little explain about your book, about the certificate that you mentioned in your bio. And also, I want you to tell us what are some of the biggest differences you have observed in communication styles across cultures. I mean, for instance, like how you compare American culture with Middle East culture, and specifically with Iranian culture.
Okay. At first, if I want to explain about my book, Road to Human Flourishing, actually, I'm one of the authors of this book, and this book is about the story of people that in one part of their lives, they had struggles, but finally they overcame. And my chapter's name specifically is Wings of Change. And this is my story about a part of my life that I needed to change. Actually, it was not easy, but it was doable. So I recommend to people that read this book, if right now they have struggles with their challenges or everything with immigration or everything in their lives. And I think this book can help them. The other thing that you mentioned is ECFMG certification. Actually, when doctors from abroad of outside of America come to America, should pass a lot of exams that they have a lot of parts, like step 1, step 2, step 3, a lot of parts. And one of my challenges that I had in a part of my life was passing those exams, but finally I passed all of them. It took like 4 years, and I got ECFMG certification. And in that book, I explained that although I spent a lot of time to obtain that certification, but I couldn't do anything with that certification. But actually, it values for me, you know. And this is explanation for ECFMG certification. And your third question about the differences between our culture and American culture, actually, we have a lot of differences, but I think 3 of them are very important to me. The first thing is direct communication in the United States. Workplaces in the United States often features a lot of honest and direct communication. So if your manager or your director tells you clearly about something that you need to change, please take it serious and don't make offense and be prepared for change. The second thing that I think is very important in the American workplace is efficiency. They say time is money. Also, we have this proverb in our culture that we say وقت طلاست. So please be on time to your work and please be as efficient as possible. And it's not unusual to lose a job if you go late many times. So take it serious about being on time. And the third thing I want to mention that is very important to American people is eye contact. Make an eye contact is in American culture is very important. And it's very different with our culture. In our culture, we don't comfortable with eye contact. If we stare at the other people's eyes, it's something like rudeness, you know, but in American culture, it's very important and it shows your respect. It shows your confidence. So please pay attention to make an eye contact. And the other thing, although eye contact is very important, but consider that American people don't feel comfortable if you stand too close to them. So please be considered that make at least 1 arm distance away. And I think these are very important in American culture, and also body language is very important in American culture, and I recommend that please pay attention to it.
Perfect. I got some very valuable points from your part. So first of all, any training in the US is important because we are coming from different culture and bringing different attitude and also different education. So any training in the US culture in workplace is very valuable. And body language, eye contact, self-confidence, and time. So these are the points I'm taking notes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair, I have ask a little different question from you because you're in the industry for many years in the US industry, and you also worked in Iran in the same industry. So, considering different cultures, how to plan and find a job that fits your capabilities and personality?
Great question, and I think it's a question for a lot of younger generation who they are either are out of the school or they want to change career. I try to summarize what I want to say. Don't want to take a lot of time. One is, do not take the peer pressure. Every time in the market, you see, let's say 10 years ago, there was a big pressure from peer, from friends to go to petroleum engineering, process engineering, chemical engineering, right? It was 2012, 13, 14, that time. And then the market changed, market crashed, and a lot of people lost their job. Another one happened during COVID, and after that, a lot of people rushed to get science, data science degree. And then a lot of them again lost their job. Then it's just a peer pressure, right? That's one point. The other key is look at 5-year period. This economy changes every 5 years. That's a key point, right? Economy changes every 5 years. You see something new pops up. Then you can't plan for 20 years. Be prepared to change, right? That's the key. Now, within 5 years, yes, something might change, then you need to be prepared to do it. The other one is money. A lot of time, people just look for a job who pays more. That's another key mistake. Because if you find the job that's right fit for you, you will make that money. It might take a little bit longer, but you will make it because it matches your capabilities, and then you can be creative in that job. That will generate that money. These are the basic. Then the other one is to look at the economical growth of that section. Let's say there is a job opportunity in coal industry. There is another job opportunity in IT. There is another job opportunity in AI. There is another job opportunity in healthcare. I'm not saying which one is the best one, but we can check the growth of that section and then plan. If the growth is negative, then that's a indicative number to plan that you shouldn't normally join an industry that is going down unless you have 30-year experience and don't want to change it. But for a younger generation, it's better to focus on industry that is growing. This is one. The other parameter is my job replaceable by someone in China or India or Vietnam or Mexico? Yes, a lot of jobs you can replace them or not. Then we can consider it. Sometimes you're so competitive, no one can replace you. That's a different story. But generally, a lot of jobs could be replaced, right? That's another one. Then the other one is to find which one matches your person. Some people have analytical personality. Some people are their personality needs a lot of communication with friends, families, right? The basis of the job is communication. The other one, the basis of the job is the analytics associated with. Then it's something that a person can analyze and decide herself or himself. Then the key is you need to find a job that you feel good, boost your energy, and you feel like you're creative, right? But how to find this is basically a lesson learned from several different people. And it is difficult to find it. A lot of people, even after 20 years, still struggle to find that area. But one tip that can help is to go back to your childhood. See what you were doing when you were a child. A lot of those games and plays where you were following this. If you look at yourself, if you look at your brother, sister, friend, you will see that the kids almost continue similarly. Yeah, every person has 2-3 different areas that they can be great at what they're doing, but then you can find one of them that matches the economy and other things. Yeah, I think I tried to make it short, but yeah, I think I don't know if I stayed within a time frame or I exceeded the time a little bit.
No, we're good. We are
Okay.
very good in timing, so no
Good.
worries about that. So
Yeah.
it was very important points you mentioned, and now imagine someone has a job. The other question I want to ask Siavash is, I want him to explain and discuss on how mentorship and support systems differ across corporation, small businesses, academia, startups, and what impact this has on career development. I'm asking this because we talked about a different cultures, culture shock. We considered culture shock coming from different culture, from different country to the United States, but we also see the culture shock when you change the job between corporates, small businesses, academia, and startups. And Siavash has a background in all of them. So I want to get his opinion on this.
Yeah. So yeah, this is very important because everyone that we are probably looking for a new job or we want to change our position, we always have different options, right? So um, uh, that's the very good categorization probably of these four groups. First of all, we have large corporations or mid-sized corporations. Then second are small firms, 10 to 15 people or 20 people. It's like a small family. Then third, I know that a lot of Iranians seek for probably academic jobs, and that's the another option for them. And then the fourth would be probably working at a startup companies. So for myself, I didn't have that much in corporation experience, but mostly in a small firm and also academic job. But the first thing is I think it's best that we find out that what would be our own priorities on finding jobs, right? So sometimes once we start probably looking for our first job, maybe that's not very uh, prioritized in our job looking because we just would like to get job quickly in either of these disciplines. But probably after 3 years, 4 years, um, in being in one position, then you are going to think a little bit more to find out, okay, is this a good place? Is this position in this work environment match with what I really want to do in my work, in my career, in my professional background? What are the other options? And for that reason, we can have these options as grouped in these four groups, and then we can choose for our next careers or next jobs, we can choose one of these categories. So I would say it's different for every person. So every person has their own desires in, work and life and work-life balance. So one of the good approach is basically understanding that each of these groups have what advantages or what disadvantages, and if those align with us or not. So for instance, some components that are uh, worth to think about that is the first one is the structure and hierarchy. So for instance, if we work in a corporation, in large corporation, it's a more hierarchy uh, in the area, in the work area, and there are more politics involved in that. And then you need to basically align with the corporation culture much more because you are part of a system, and you need to adjust yourself with that system. So there are much more stretch in your cultural muscles and in your politics muscles in order to feed yourself with a corporate life. So are you willing to sacrifice that? Are you willing to stretch that amount to fit in the corporate life in an exchange to might be a more stable and a more safety, a more job safety, or a more work-life balance? So these are the things that probably we need to prioritize ourselves to see which one we are prefer to um, uh, follow first. So a structure and hierarchy, aligning with the culture and politics of that specific job that is much more in the corporation life. Then the next priority is flexibility and autonomy. If you want to be more autonomous or more flexible in your job position, then corporate life doesn't match with those basically preferences. You might need to get more to the startup or the small businesses, the small firms, or if you might want much more autonomy, probably an academia would be a better option. Then the next criterion to think about is the work-life balance. So mostly in corporations and in corporations, there are more work-to-life balance. For startup and small businesses, it's less because there are more they have less resources, so there are more work duties on those. In academia, it's different depending if you are in a tenure track. For the first 5 years, it's much more workload, but after that, it's a better work-life balance. So considering and evaluating these different criteria and checking your own priorities for your work and for your work-life balance, that would be give you the best option to choose from this list. And then the other thing is looking at probably a 10-year or 20-year perspective of what you want to end up, right? So if you want to, for instance, as an example, if you want to start your business, then probably working in a corporation would not fit with your goal, right? It's probably better to get into a startup or a small business and learn the different hats that an entrepreneur needs from different goals and disciplines, and then get educated, and then you get to that path. So it's important to find out what are our goals based on these criteria, and then based on that, you can choose that group that you want to enroll.
Thank you, Siavash. I want to go back to Abbas John. We talked yesterday, and he had very good points about culture shock between different companies when we are changing our job. And I want to ask him, considering other panelists' discussions, what is the most difficult part of culture shock, in your opinion?
Oh, there are many. And then I have heard quite a bit from Azadeh, Manu, and then Siavash. But some of the common symptoms of the culture shock that, like, again, it's a social or work environment, as we discussed this thing, is a homesickness. You become homesick, and then you feel like helpless, and then you feel like you have dependency on a lot of things. Sometimes you feel like you have a depression or you become sad, and then you have sleeping issues and so forth. But one of the main things that from my point of view is the confusion and frustration, because you cannot solve things, you cannot do things, and you become frustrated. And when you become frustrated, you become angry, and then you become hostile. And then, so some of those are some of the key things that, from my point of view, is the difficult part of that culture shock. A few things that Azadeh Khanum mentioned was having gestures and the signs, language issues, and then we talk about communication, and also we need to start talking about the miscommunication also. Sometimes the way that in our language and then American language, the things that we say, our partners or our friends or co-workers, they may misunderstand you. So you need to be clear, very, very clear on what you're trying to say. Another thing that I want to bring up, in our culture, we don't have anything but sexual harassment. So in our work, we can talk about the ladies, we can talk about the other guys, or we can, but here in America, now, especially these days, you need to be very careful. Sexual harassment can cost you your job, can cause you a lot of issues for you. So if you're trying to compliment someone, if you're trying to say something nice, make sure that you use the words, this is a compliment, nothing else, so that it's very clear. So be mindful of the sexual harassment. Those are some of the things that I wanted to say. And also, cultural shock. If you look at the whole thing, it looks like a bell curve. At the very initial phase, when we move from our environment to new environment, we see things, we like things, and then we do not understand things. So I'll call those things a honeymoon period that we have. Then you go to the bottom of the curve, and then this is where you start understanding that there are differences, and this is where you get the shock. And then as you move up to the curve, you start adjusting, and then as you learn more, you start adjusting, and then on top of the curve, you start accepting, and this is where you become part of the community. A lot of times, the way that we dress, the way that we act, I'm not saying that we do have our own rights and so forth. And then I know, especially work environment, they're not going to say anything, but the way that you dress, the way that you act makes a huge difference. And the way that I've seen, I don't want to go to details, but I've seen people with different hairstyles or different way of the dressing, especially ladies, and the way that they dress, it can cause the problem.
That's interesting. Very important points about sexual harassment. And I think if anyone else wants to add any point about that, you can jump in.
Yeah, I wanted to add a few examples of the culture, so examples to make it more sensible for the audience. One, also they also addressed it a little bit, was the workload. You can see, for example, a project in Iran, easily a major project, takes about 10 years, 15 years. Here is normally 3 to 4 years. Then you can imagine the workload. This is a shock. Yeah, the workload is huge, and you have to do a lot of things at the same time. That's one. The other one is change. Different things change. You're working in the morning, you go to office after 2 years working, 3 years working, then you see, even in the news, not from your own organization, that the organization was sold. It's a shock, right? It's a merger, it's an acquisition. Someone purchased the organization, your organization purchased someone else, or you're merging with another. These are different shocks. Don't worry about it, it's normal. People here are familiar with it, but for us, it might be a shock. We get concerned, oh, what's going to happen to me? The other one that is the key is layoffs. A lot of times people get laid off. That happens, right? It's again part of the economy. And this economy again generates other opportunity for those people to come back to market. Yeah, I wanted to bring up some examples of shocks that normally people normally see when they join the market.
That's a great example, Manu. The layoff. A lot of times when we get laid off, we feel that because we're Iranian, we're getting laid off. That's not the case. It's just that, like you said, it's an economical situation. The company maybe is going through some financial crisis, and then what they do, they look at your performance. They look at your how have you been performing. Do you mentor people? Do you help others, and so forth? So there are many factors that involves, and these are a lot part of the culture shock that we have within the organization, and that also impacts the way that we live and the way that how we communicate with our neighbors and in the society.
Very good points to be very specific and provide examples.
Yeah, sorry, just to be a little bit more specific, it might not be directly to your performance. Sometimes companies have to make decision, have to reduce the headcount. And that's because of the investors. Investors tell them, we have to make this amount of money end of the fiscal year. We have to do it. Then sometimes projects don't move forward the way that they planned. They have to cut some of the people, even high performers, great people, good attitude, a lot of great things, but they have to do it. And normally they bring back people after a year or 6 months, then they are in a better situation. Then don't get disappointed. It happens, but most of the time it doesn't mean anything. You will come back to the market.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's very interesting. I wanted to ask you this question, how to be prepared for up and downs of the US economy. You mentioned layoffs and
Yeah, it
losing
happens.
jobs and everything, but if there's anything else you can advise our audience that make them prepare for up and downs in the US economy.
Yeah, just
That would be
keep
very
in
valuable.
mind that this economy is unique. You don't see any other economy like this country. None of the other countries, Germany, UK, Canada, they're big economies. China, they're never even close to this economy. It's completely different, right? It has problems, but it has unique capabilities. It's part of it is capitalism, part of it is competitiveness, supply and demand in the market, and not much government involvement. You see a lot of government involvement in Europe. You don't see much here. It's very small, right? Then that basically makes it very fast. Every person is part of the economy. That's the reason you see it moves very fast. A lot of people say times goes very fast here in the US, right? In 2 years, you feel like it was 10 years, but it's because of everything is fast. That's a basis for it, right? Then you see this economy, yes, maybe sometimes destroys some of the opportunities, but make some other opportunities. A lot of people were saying US car and automotive industry is gone. And then how come EV market popped up from the US, right? Then this country generates a lot of things. Look at COVID. Once COVID started, yes, a lot of jobs were disappeared, but a lot of other jobs popped up, right? All those testing offices, where are those testing? The companies, some of the companies, the startups, were formed in that period of time. They grew and they were sold in just 3-4 years, just because of this unique economy. This is the point. Going back to your question again, consider 5-year duration. Everything happens within 5 years. You can't really forecast more than that. Everything will change after. It might become even shorter with AI, but now it is around 5 years. The other one is what Siavash mentioned, flexibility. Yes, you can be a super expert SME in your specific area, but the company, when the market hits, when the problem hits, you have to be able to have a different hat, to do something else. If you're not, then company cannot have it. That doesn't mean that there is any negativity, any problem, any racism. No, they just cannot afford it. That's it. And then diversifying the income when the economy is good, right? Then if you want to do investment, if you can work with a small business, if you can make it diversified, that's another key. And networking. I see a lot of people do not attend networking events just because they have a job. And they start to attend networking event after they lose the job. It's too late. You need to already build your relations, and you need to have your job when you're doing your job. You need to have other options. That will help you to negotiate with your own employer or customer, even if you're managing a small business. That's the key. Then, and also have a saving for at least between 6 months to a year. Within 6 months, normally something happens in this fast economy. Then if a family is able to manage themselves for 6 months or maximum a year, something good will happen. And you have seen it in COVID. COVID hit, there was a big shock to the entire country, but within 6 months and a year, people were okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Manager. I want to go quickly back to Azadeh. And also we see gender gap here as a culture shock, one of the culture shock probably. We only have one lady in the panel. So Azadeh, what advice would you give to employees who are experiencing culture shock in workplace?
Actually, there are a lot of recommendations, but I want to mention a few. The first important thing is acknowledge the challenge. recognize that the culture shock is a normal process, normal response to a new environment. So it's okay if you feel out of place or overwhelmed. This is very important. And the other things is educate yourself. Spend time to learn about your new workplace. You can use resources like books, articles, and communication with other colleagues to better understand your workplace and your company's values or work practices or social norms. The other things is seek support. Look for mentors in your workplace, and they can help you a lot. They can guide you and give you valuable insights, and it's very helpful. The other thing I want to mention is observe and listen. Spend time observing how other people and how other colleagues interact with their supervisor or with other people in your workplace. And also pay attention to both verbal and non-verbal cues that are very informative. The other thing is ask question. Most of the time we are shy to ask question, but please don't be shy to ask question. Ask question to clarify anything that you are not sure about something. Is better than to make an incorrect assumption. So please don't be shy and ask question. And the other thing is be open-minded and adaptable. Please, when you are going to a new workplace, be open-minded and willing to adapt and adjust with a new culture, with your new workplace. And in the same time, please maintain your identity. Although it's very important that you need adjust to your new workplace, but it's very crucial that you need to say to your own identity and your own value. So please make a balance between them. And the last thing I want to mention is give it time and consider that adjust a new workplace it doesn't happen overnight. So take it easy. Don't be too hard on yourself, and give yourself time to adjust yourself to new culture or new workplace.
Thank you, Azadeh. And I want to mention that AIP provides a very good platform for personal development and training. So we have a speaker events. You can join our speaker events, and we are providing virtual sessions. So you can join virtual session or watch these videos later in YouTube in your spare time and be ready for your marketplace. The last question I will ask from Siavash. Could you explain the significance of balancing soft skills and hard skills in different work environments and their effects on professional success?
Yes, sure. So the term soft skill, I haven't heard about that when I was studying undergrad or master's, or when I was in a school. I attended one of our civil engineering organizational meetings, and in that meeting, I heard a lot about soft skills and developing soft skills. So myself, as civil engineer in university, I just learned how to design buildings with the steel, with wood, with a structure. I learned mathematics, I learned physics, but I didn't learn anything about time management. I didn't learn anything about work culture, relationships with my boss or with my colleagues. We didn't learn any of these at a school, right? And probably unfortunate that that's how it is right now. And actually, I'm also teaching, and I just teach hard skills, right? I teach just designing of structures or buildings. But when we get to work in, as I mentioned, in those groups, then we need to strengthen our different skills if we want to be proactive and if we want to move up to the ladder of any of those disciplines, right? And for that reason, uh, we need to ourselves, we need to put more focus on increasing our soft skills. For instance, this seminar that we are doing right now that's one of the goals for that seminar, right? And for that reason, I think the best thing is just continuing education and learning for different disciplines that we need to learn. And and it's different. These soft skills are also different in different work environments. So for instance, in the corporate life, if you work in a big corporations, then the soft skills that you should learn include, for instance, cultures fitting with the culture of the company. It includes with dealing with others, probably human understanding a little bit about human resources, communication, communication with our bosses or communication with our colleagues, negotiation skills, and these different skills. So these are not topics that we learn in school. So we need to increase our knowledge about those in probably corporation. If you are working in a startup company or a small business, a small firm, these soft skills would be much broader because in a small firm, um, you are going to handle with multiple different aspects of that firm. So being and working in a small firm or startup, that actually gives you that education of these different soft skills. But if you want to proactive, you can also increase your knowledge by reading resources. So for a startup and small businesses, not only negotiation or human resources or culture or politics are important, but also you need to know about marketing. You need to have knowledge about probably graphics. You need to know about sales, how to negotiate sales. You need to know about finances. Um, because the resources are limited on those and you need to deal with all of those. And you need to probably know a little bit much more about the legal aspects of the firm, how to deal with policies, how to align with regulations or regulatory, how to comply, have compliance with regulations, sometimes learn how to work remotely. And because these small firms, probably there are more remote work options. So how to be productive once working remotely. And all of these are basically soft skills, and some of them also hard skills outside of our area of focus, but that we need to learn and get more knowledge about that. Then some of them also are shared between any of these categories. For instance, time management, project management, networking, problem solving. These are also soft skills that we want to learn more. So part of that learning curve comes from getting experience in that work environment. The other part of that learning curve that I think I would like to emphasize that is just reading and studying different resources, different books, articles, YouTube channels, etc. And I actually wanted to introduce one of the books that I'm very interested in it, and I think that gives a lot of it would be a good start for that. It's called the Personal MBA, and it has like about 10 different chapters, and in each chapter it gives you the different soft skill that probably you need to know or learn for your work. So one of them is one of the chapters is working with others. So that is actually the culture work, aligning with the culture of our work environment. The other one, working with yourself, with ourselves, that is also another thing. And then finance, marketing, sales, and human mind. So I suggest probably this as one of the resources. Actually, at the end of the book, there are some recommendations for other resources that you can study. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have few more minutes to end the session. And before reading the audience questions, I would like to thank our panelists for their time and sharing valuable experience with us. And to know what the next event or panel by AIAP is, you can visit the website, and also you can join our LinkedIn page. And if you're interested to support AIAP and also access a sustainable advertisement and marketing platform for your business, you can contact us and become our event sponsor. It is a good opportunity for any business in North America.